After the age of 50, many people believe that staying healthy is simply a matter of drinking more water. You hear it everywhere: drink 8 glasses a day and you will be fine. But for a growing number of adults over 50, this advice does not seem to match real life. They drink water regularly, sometimes even more than recommended, yet they still feel tired, foggy, dry, or low on energy. This raises an important question. Is hydration really just about how much water you drink? As we age, the body changes in subtle but important ways. Thirst signals become less reliable, meaning you may not feel thirsty even when your body needs fluids. At the same time, cellular function naturally slows down. Cells may not absorb and utilize water as efficiently as they once did. As a result, water can pass through the body without fully supporting the processes that depend on proper hydration at the cellular level. This is why many adults over 50 experience signs commonly associated with dehydration, even when their water intake seems adequate. These signs may include low energy, mental fog, dry skin, slower recovery, or a general sense that the body is not functioning at its best. Importantly, this does not mean that water is bad or unnecessary. Water remains essential for life. The issue is not the presence of water, but how effectively the body is able to use it. Hydration is not only about volume, it is also about distribution and function. For water to support circulation, energy production, and normal cellular activity, it must move into cells and participate in biological processes. If this does not happen efficiently, simply adding more water may not lead to better results. This perspective encourages a more thoughtful approach to hydration after 50. Instead of focusing only on drinking more, it may be helpful to understand how aging affects the way the body handles fluids. By looking beyond quantity and considering how water works inside the body, people can make more informed and balanced choices to support overall well-being. To understand why this happens, it helps to look at how the body changes with age at a deeper level. Hydration is not just a surface-level process. It depends on how water moves through tissues, crosses cell membranes, and is regulated by multiple systems working together. As the body gets older, several of these systems naturally become less efficient. One key factor is the structure of cell membranes. In younger bodies, cell membranes are more flexible and responsive, allowing water and nutrients to move in and out smoothly. With aging, these membranes can become less responsive, which may reduce the ability of cells to draw water inside. When this happens, water may remain in the bloodstream or be excreted without fully supporting cellular activity. Kidney function also changes over time. The kidneys play a major role in managing fluid balance, electrolytes, and waste removal. As part of normal aging, they may become less precise in regulating fluids. This can contribute to situations where the body appears hydrated on paper, but cells are not receiving water in the way they once did. Hormonal regulation is another important piece. Hormones involved in fluid balance and thirst signaling may fluctuate or decline with age. This can affect how the body distributes water and how efficiently it responds to hydration. Together, these changes can create a gap between how much water is consumed and how much water is actually used at the cellular level. When cells do not receive adequate hydration, the effects can be subtle but noticeable. Circulation may feel less efficient, energy levels may drop more quickly, and mental clarity may not be as sharp. Skin may appear drier, and recovery from daily physical or mental stress may take longer. These experiences are often described collectively as reduced vitality. It is important to note that this is not a disease or a failure of the body. It is a normal part of aging physiology. Understanding these changes allows for a more realistic and informed approach to hydration. Instead of assuming that more water alone will solve the problem, it becomes useful to consider how the body handles water and what it needs to support that process as we age. This sets the stage for exploring how hydration can be supported more effectively in later years. Once we understand how aging affects the body's ability to handle water, the next logical question becomes what helps water actually do its job inside the body. This is where minerals, often called electrolytes, enter the conversation. Water by itself is essential, but in the body, it rarely works alone. Many of the processes that allow water to move, distribute, and support cells depend on the presence of minerals. Minerals such as sodium, potassium, magnesium, and others carry electrical charges. These charges play a role in how fluids move across cell membranes and how cells communicate with their environment. In simple terms, minerals help create the conditions that allow water to enter cells rather than remain outside of them. Without this support, water may still circulate through the body, but it may not contribute as effectively to cellular function. This idea is sometimes described as electrical hydration. The term does not suggest electricity in a mechanical sense, but rather the natural electrical properties involved in human biology. Nerve signals, muscle contractions, and fluid balance all rely on electrically charged particles. When mineral levels are low or imbalanced, these systems may not operate as smoothly, which can affect how hydration is experienced at the cellular level. As people age, mineral intake and absorption can change. Diets may become more restricted, digestion may slow, and certain minerals may be lost more easily through normal bodily processes. Over time, this can reduce the availability of electrolytes needed to support fluid movement and cellular activity. As a result, drinking plain water alone may not always lead to the sense of hydration or vitality people expect. It is important to approach this topic with balance. Minerals are not a replacement for water, and more is not always better. The body requires appropriate amounts and proper balance to function well. The goal is not to turn hydration into a complex formula, but to recognize that water works best when the body has the basic building blocks it needs to use that water effectively. Understanding the role of electrolytes helps explain why hydration after 50 can feel different than it did earlier in life. It shifts the focus from simply drinking more to supporting the systems that allow water to perform its biological roles. With this foundation, it becomes possible to explore practical, everyday ways to support hydration in a thoughtful and responsible manner. With the role of electrolytes in hydration now clear, it becomes useful to look at individual minerals and how they support the body as we age. One of the most frequently discussed minerals in this context is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical processes in the body and plays an important role in how muscles, nerves, and blood vessels function on a daily basis. From a hydration and circulation perspective, magnesium is often associated with relaxation. It supports the normal relaxation of smooth muscle tissue, including the muscles that line blood vessels. When these muscles are able to relax appropriately, blood flow can move more smoothly through the circulatory system. This process is part of normal physiology and helps the body respond to physical and mental demands without unnecessary tension. Magnesium also supports nerve signaling. Nerves rely on balanced mineral levels to transmit signals efficiently. When magnesium levels are low, the nervous system may become more easily overstimulated, which can contribute to feelings of restlessness, tension, or difficulty winding down. Over time, this can affect how the body manages stress and recovery, especially in older adults. As people age, magnesium intake and absorption may decline. Changes in diet, digestion, and medication use can all influence magnesium levels. For this reason, magnesium deficiency or insufficiency is relatively common in older populations. When magnesium levels are not optimal, individuals may notice symptoms such as low energy, muscle tightness, disrupted sleep, or a general sense that the body is not fully relaxed. In discussions about supplementation, certain forms of magnesium are often mentioned because they are typically easier for the body to absorb. Magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate are two commonly referenced forms. These are discussed in educational contexts due to their bioavailability, meaning the body can utilize them more efficiently compared to some other forms. It is important to approach magnesium with balance and awareness. Magnesium is a supportive mineral, not a quick fix or treatment. Needs can vary based on diet, lifestyle, and individual health factors. For this reason, magnesium is best understood as part of a broader hydration and wellness picture rather than a single solution. This perspective allows it to fit naturally into a thoughtful, long-term approach to supporting the body as it ages. After discussing magnesium and its role in relaxation and circulation, the next mineral that often raises questions is sodium. Sodium is frequently viewed in a negative light, especially in conversations about aging and cardiovascular health. However, from a physiological perspective, sodium is an essential mineral that plays a central role in fluid balance and hydration at the cellular level. Sodium helps regulate how water is distributed throughout the body. It works alongside other electrolytes to maintain the balance between fluids inside and outside cells. When sodium levels are too low, water may not move efficiently into cells, even when fluid intake is adequate. In this way, sodium acts as a gatekeeper, helping guide water to where it is needed to support normal cellular function. The concern around sodium largely comes from excessive intake through highly processed foods. Packaged snacks, fast foods, and processed meals often contain large amounts of refined sodium with little nutritional value. Consistently consuming sodium in this form can contribute to imbalances and is generally discouraged in nutrition guidelines. This context is important because it explains why sodium has developed a negative reputation. The discussion changes when sodium is considered in its natural forms and in moderate amounts. Natural salts, such as sea salt or Himalayan salt, contain small amounts of trace minerals alongside sodium. When used sparingly and as part of a balanced diet, these salts may support normal electrolyte balance rather than disrupt it. The key difference is not only the source, but also the quantity and overall dietary pattern. As people age, sodium needs and tolerance can vary. Changes in appetite, hydration habits, and kidney function can influence how sodium is handled by the body. For some individuals, very low sodium intake combined with high water intake may contribute to feelings of low energy or poor hydration. This does not mean increasing sodium indiscriminately, but rather understanding its role within the broader hydration system. Approaching sodium with awareness rather than fear allows for a more nuanced view of hydration. It reinforces the idea that effective hydration is about balance. Water, sodium, and other minerals work together to support fluid movement and cellular health. Recognizing this relationship helps set the foundation for exploring how different electrolytes interact to support the body as it ages. As the relationship between sodium and potassium becomes clearer, it is helpful to look at potassium not just as a supporting mineral, but as a stabilizing force within the hydration system. While sodium helps move water into cells, potassium helps keep that water where it belongs. This balance between the two is essential for maintaining normal fluid distribution inside and outside cells. Potassium plays a central role in how muscles function throughout the body. Every muscle contraction relies on carefully regulated electrical signals, and potassium is a key contributor to those signals. This includes skeletal muscles used for movement, as well as smooth muscles that influence circulation. When potassium levels are balanced, muscles can contract and relax efficiently, supporting steady blood flow and physical endurance. The heart is another area where potassium is especially important. A regular heart rhythm depends on stable electrical signaling, which is influenced by electrolyte balance. Potassium helps support this process as part of normal physiology. When potassium intake is consistently low, the body may struggle to maintain the same level of efficiency, which can affect how circulation feels during daily activities. Many people do not consume enough potassium through diet alone. Modern eating habits often prioritize convenience foods that are low in potassium compared to whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and legumes. Over time, this pattern can contribute to lower potassium availability, particularly in older adults who may already be eating less or avoiding certain foods. From a hydration perspective, insufficient potassium can make it harder for cells to retain water. Even when fluid intake is adequate, water may shift towards spaces outside cells instead of supporting cellular processes. This can leave people feeling underhydrated, despite doing what they believe is right by drinking enough water. In educational wellness discussions, potassium-rich electrolyte powders are sometimes mentioned as a practical option. These products are typically formulated to provide electrolytes with minimal or no added sugar. When used thoughtfully and as part of a balanced routine, they may help support electrolyte intake without significantly altering diet or fluid habits. Understanding potassium at this deeper level reinforces an important theme. Hydration is not a single action, but a coordinated process. Supporting that process means considering how water and minerals work together to help the body function smoothly over time. After examining minerals that primarily influence fluid balance and circulation, it is useful to turn attention to a mineral that supports regulation and maintenance at a cellular level. Zinc plays a different but equally important role in the body. Rather than focusing on fluid movement directly, zinc is involved in many processes that help cells function, repair, and communicate effectively. Zinc contributes to hormone regulation by supporting enzymes and signaling pathways that help the body maintain balance. Hormones influence energy, metabolism, and recovery, and zinc is one of the minerals that helps these systems operate normally. As people age, hormonal regulation can become less consistent, and adequate zinc intake helps support the underlying processes involved in maintaining stability. Immune health is another area where zinc is commonly discussed. Zinc supports the normal function of immune cells and helps the body respond to everyday stressors. This does not mean zinc prevents illness, but rather that it plays a supportive role in keeping the immune system functioning as intended. Over time, insufficient zinc may make recovery from physical or mental stress feel slower. Zinc is also involved in cellular repair and enzyme activity. Enzymes are responsible for countless chemical reactions in the body, including those related to digestion, tissue maintenance, and energy production. Zinc helps activate and stabilize many of these enzymes, which is why it is often associated with recovery and vitality. In older adults, zinc intake and absorption may decline. Dietary changes, reduced appetite, and digestive efficiency can all influence zinc availability. When zinc levels are not optimal, individuals may notice lower energy, slower recovery after activity, or a general reduction in resilience. These experiences are often gradual and may be mistaken for normal aging without considering nutritional factors. In educational wellness discussions, liquid zinc drops are sometimes mentioned as a convenient option. Liquid forms may be easier for some people to absorb and integrate into daily routines. As with other minerals, zinc is not a standalone solution and does not replace medical care. It is best viewed as one component of a broader approach to supporting the body as it ages. By understanding zinc's role alongside other electrolytes and minerals, the picture of hydration and vitality becomes more complete. Each mineral contributes in a different way, supporting the systems that allow the body to function smoothly over time. After understanding how individual minerals support hydration, circulation, and cellular function, the next step is learning how these elements can be applied in a simple and structured way. Rather than focusing on isolated actions, the approach presented here emphasizes consistency and balance across the day. The goal is to support hydration gradually without placing unnecessary stress on the body. The idea of a daily hydration routine is not meant to replace medical guidance or prescribed treatment. Instead, it offers a general framework that aligns water intake with mineral support at different times of the day. This structure reflects how the body naturally shifts between activity, recovery, and rest. In the morning, hydration is often about preparing the body for the day ahead. After hours without fluid intake, the body benefits from gentle rehydration. Combining water with magnesium and a small amount of natural salt is discussed as a way to support relaxation, fluid balance, and circulation early in the day. Magnesium supports muscle and nerve function, while sodium helps guide water into cells. The emphasis is on moderation and simplicity, not precision or dosing. Midday hydration focuses on maintenance. As the day progresses, the body uses minerals through movement, stress, and normal metabolic activity. Adding zinc to water during this time is presented as a way to support ongoing cellular processes such as enzyme activity and recovery. This step is intended to align with periods of mental and physical demand, helping the body maintain balance rather than react to depletion. In the evening, hydration shifts toward restoration. A potassium-rich electrolyte drink is discussed as an option to support fluid balance and muscle function later in the day. Potassium plays a role in keeping water inside cells and supporting relaxation after daily activity. Choosing options with low or no added sugar helps keep hydration supportive rather than stimulating. This structured approach is not about doing more, but about spreading support evenly across the day. By aligning hydration with mineral needs, the routine aims to feel steady and manageable. It reinforces the idea that hydration works best when it follows the body's natural rhythms and supports long-term well-being rather than quick results. With a structured routine in place, it is natural to wonder what kind of changes people may notice over time. Rather than promising instant results, this approach emphasizes gradual adaptation. The body responds to consistent habits slowly, especially as it ages. For this reason, any changes associated with improved hydration and mineral balance are typically described as cumulative rather than immediate. During the first week or so, some individuals may begin to notice subtle shifts. Energy levels may feel more stable throughout the day, with fewer sharp drops in the afternoon. Mental clarity may improve slightly, not in the form of heightened alertness, but as a reduced sense of heaviness or fog. These early changes are often easy to overlook, yet they reflect the body beginning to adjust to more consistent hydration support. As routines continue into the second week, these effects may become easier to recognize. Hydration that reaches cells more effectively can support circulation and normal metabolic processes. People may feel that daily activities require slightly less effort, or that recovery after movement and mental work feels smoother. Sleep patterns may also begin to feel more settled, as mineral balance supports the nervous system's ability to transition into rest. By the third week, the accumulation of these small adjustments can feel more noticeable. Energy may feel more evenly distributed from morning to evening. Mental focus may feel steadier, and the body may feel less tense overall. Improved hydration at the cellular level can support how muscles and tissues respond to daily stress, which may contribute to a greater sense of physical comfort. It is important to view these observations as general experiences rather than guaranteed outcomes. Everyone responds differently based on diet, lifestyle, and overall health. The purpose of this framework is not to create expectations, but to highlight how consistency allows the body time to adapt. Quick fixes often lead to short-lived changes, while steady habits support long-term balance. This perspective reinforces a key theme of the approach. Supporting hydration and mineral balance is not about dramatic transformation. It is about creating conditions that allow the body to function more smoothly over time. When changes are gradual, they are often more sustainable and easier to maintain as part of everyday life. After exploring hydration from multiple angles, one central idea becomes clear. Hydration after the age of 50 is not simply about drinking more water. It is about understanding how water works in the body and what it needs to function effectively. As the body changes with age, the systems responsible for fluid balance, cellular uptake, and circulation also change. Adjusting hydration habits to reflect these changes is a practical and informed response, not a radical one. Throughout this discussion, we have seen that water works best when it is supported by the minerals the body naturally relies on. Electrolytes such as magnesium, sodium, potassium, and zinc each play a specific role. Some help guide water into cells, others help keep it there. Some support circulation, nerve signaling, and recovery. None of these elements work in isolation. They function as part of a coordinated system that supports everyday physiology. The key lesson is balance. Drinking large amounts of plain water without considering mineral support may not always lead to better hydration, especially later in life. At the same time, minerals are not substitutes for water, nor are they treatments or quick solutions. Effective hydration sits at the intersection of water intake, mineral balance, diet, and daily habits. This approach encourages awareness rather than fear. It does not ask people to eliminate water, avoid salt entirely, or follow strict rules. Instead, it invites viewers to think more strategically about hydration. Simple routines, spread throughout the day, can support the body in a steady and manageable way. Small adjustments made consistently often have a greater impact than dramatic changes made briefly. For the audience, the takeaway is not to chase promises of instant results. It is to respect the body's natural rhythms and changing needs over time. Hydration is a foundational habit that influences energy, focus, and physical comfort. When approached thoughtfully, it becomes a form of daily maintenance rather than a constant struggle. As always, individual needs vary. Listening to your body, maintaining a balanced diet, and seeking professional guidance when needed are important parts of any wellness approach. By viewing hydration as a system, rather than a single action, it becomes easier to support long-term well-being and move through the later decades of life with greater awareness and confidence.